You might be wondering what it's like to be me, what it's like to be someone that travels to take pictures of naked women. Sounds like a good life, and it is. I'm gonna tell it from my very personal point of view, which is not typical. Because as I said before, this is not my job. I am lucky enough to have built a completely unrelated business which makes me the money mostly passively. So I have the time and the resources to do something that I can do without worrying about money. I do this because I love it and I don't care that I don't make money. Actually, it costs me money. And I only get back a few euros because of my very few patrons that I've got at the moment. Maybe they will grow in the future, I don't care, doesn't matter. What it matters is that I love this life. I didn't start long ago, it's 6 months now. It's 6 months since this switch flipped in my head and I decided, okay, from now on, I am a photographer of naked women. The biggest step was just say it to myself. And then everything else came very, very easily. As I said, I travel. I can travel because I've structured my life in a very unusual way. I don't have a base. I don't own a house. I don't even have a fixed rented place anywhere. Any moment I can just decide, okay, maybe now I want to spend a month in Czech Republic. Maybe now I want to be 2 weeks in Italy. In 2 months I'm going back to London. Everything that I own fits in 2 bags. This means that yes, if there is an apocalypse, I can just move in 10 minutes. I can run away and disappear. I can just jump. So this allows me to just look at modeling websites and on Instagram, and if I find there is maybe a model that I really like in a city, maybe there is a model that I find and I go crazy about their picture and say, oh, wow, I really want to take pictures of this woman. Then I can look at other models in the area and I decide, okay, I found several women in Prague. Let's go to Prague. Let's spend August in Prague. The weather is going to be warm, but not insufferably hot like in many other countries in Europe. Let's go to Prague. So immediately after I decide that I want to go somewhere, I look at the flights, and usually in 10 minutes I book my flights. I'm super flexible, so I can decide the exact date that I can travel depending on the cheapest flights that I find. And then I immediately look at Airbnbs for the location. Because having your own location is very, very good for several reasons. First of all, okay, I can afford to live like this, so why not have a nice house where to spend my days? It gives me the motivation to get out of the bed in the morning, to have a beautiful environment in the city center. And in a city like Prague, it's relatively cheap. The other reason is that it changes the dynamic of taking the pictures. It's very different if the model comes at your place or if you are going to the model's place whenever it's possible, and not all models have a location to shoot, or finding a temporary location just for the shoot. If you have an apartment that works as a location, it's like you're playing a match in your home, in your hometown. It makes you the person that's in charge, to a certain extent, of course. So I look on Airbnb, I decide the budget, and considering that I don't have another place that I have to pay rent somewhere else, this is my only expense for the rent. And so I can afford to, to find nice places, and especially in countries where the cost of living is not super high, I can totally afford to go there and to pay for the models as well. And so when I arrive in a city like Prague and I decide to spend a month here, because usually that makes the cost of the rent more convenient, gives you more value. What do? It's not like I shoot every day. That would make things super expensive, and also I don't want to destroy, I don't want to burn out. And also, finding models, it requires work, especially nude models. There isn't so many nude models. Even in a big city or a city like Prague, it's a country where people are very open-minded. But still, finding enough women to shoot them every day, even if I find some of them that would work just for the pictures, not for the money, it would be really hard work. It could totally be possible, but it would mean that I would had to spend a lot of time contacting the models. It would have to be like maybe 25% of my time would need to be invested in this. I prefer to just invest as little time as I can to find a good amount of models. Let's say 10 models, 8-10 models for a month of time. Considering that I shoot for every model thousands of pictures, this gives me a lot of material to work on. And considering that this is not my job, I don't have to make anyone happy. I just have to make myself and my patrons, okay, they support me, happy. And what I'm doing for now is enough. As I said, I shoot a lot. My shooting style is very natural. I don't like to construct my pictures. I pick the location, I bring the model in, I put her in the space, and I like to see what happens. That's it. I don't use artificial lighting. I use available light. If there is a lamp that makes a nice light, I'm gonna use that. But mostly I use window lights, sunlight. And so I don't use flash, I don't use professional lights made for photography. I don't have them. I don't carry anything like that with me. I shoot for 2 to 3 hours, depending on the model, depending on how much she costs, how much I need with her. On average, I shoot 1,000 pictures per hour. I like to shoot the movement. I like to capture fleeting moments. So it makes sense that I have to shoot a lot, because most of these pictures would be unusable, would be just shot in the wrong moment. But if I shoot enough of them, inevitably there's going to be some very interesting poses that come, and that they cannot be repeated, because it's not like a pose. It's something that I captured that disappeared, was not there 100th of a second before, and it's not there 100th of a second after, later. I usually have very friendly interactions with the models. I am open to their suggestions. I just make them do what's their thing. Usually it just works. I choose models accordingly. I choose models looking at the pictures and say, okay, I think that with this model I can have good time, things is gonna be easy, and I'm gonna have good pictures because she looks like someone that can look very good in a natural type of photography. So yeah, they come to my place, shake hands, introduction, how is it going, how is life here, what did you bring for me, referring to the outfits. We go through the minimal outfits that they bring. I don't do fashion shooting, I do mostly nude pictures, but with some fabrics, some underwear, something that, yeah, you look at the picture, yeah, the model is mostly naked, but there might be something in the picture that's bringing a little bit of mystery. So we go through these things that she carried, and some models bring a lot of things, some others bring hardly anything, and they just get naked and we just roll, we just go. It takes me into the flow, a very flowing state of mind. For those 2 to 3 hours, I don't check my smartphone. In fact, I use it actually to shoot videos, because I've started to do that as well. I don't have to worry about anyone telling me what to do, so I just do what I find enjoyable. Shooting the pictures is 50% of the fun. The other 50% is editing them. It's also another thing that I absolutely adore doing. But that's an entirely different subject and it's gonna require another video.